Greetings, Star Citizens, and welcome to another beautiful day in the verse. Currently in the verse we have 38 ships that are flight ready and flyable in the verse. That's just a little bit of information I thought you guys might be interested in, and that's all for this video. I'll see you guys in the next video. Just kidding, but on a serious note, there are a lot of ships in Star Citizen, so for today I thought I would take a look at some of the ships and give a list of 3 ships that I think are the best ships to choose if you only choose one ship. So if you're one of those people that doesn't want to choose a second ship because you're worried that it would just be a redundant ship and it would never get any use, and you just want one ship, you want things to be simple, you want one ship that you can jump in, one ship that you can trust, I'm going to talk about my best picks, and I'm going to pick 3 ships and not just one ship, just to give a bit of a variation on price, because everyone's got a different budget. Some people will only spend $50 and some people might splash out a little bit more than $50. So starting out from lowest to highest in terms of price, the first ship that you're going to come across that in my opinion makes the best one ship to have is, of course, the Avenger Titan. I've spoken about this ship in the past, and so have many YouTubers and many Star Citizen users. This is by far one of the most favoured ships in terms of bang for buck. Obviously, it's only a $50 ship, and it can do an awful lot for a $50 ship. It's got cargo, it's got decent firepower, it's got decent survivability, and it's got decent speed. There are very little downsides to owning a Avenger Titan, because you could do a little bit of everything, and obviously you can customize it to some degree. So if you don't want to do cargo, if you want to be more combat side, you could go for the EMP variant, and if you want to be more bounty hunting style, you could go for the Avenger variant, both of which are slightly more expensive than the Titan, but they are options and they should be cheap enough to upgrade to if you want to go down that route. And I think an Avenger Titan would last a very long time if you was to choose the Avenger Titan as your first ship, and if you was to choose it as your only ship, I think it would go very far. It would make you a lot of money because it is very easy to manage. And what I mean by that is, obviously, when you think about making money in the future when the game does come out and we get, you know, cargo trading, etc., you might think that a Hull E and a Starfarer and all the big haulers are going to be making millions right off the bat. They're going to be making a fortune and they're just going to destroy the economy. But of course, you do have to buy that cargo still. You still have to fill up your ship with cargo. And chances are, at the very start of the game, people with a Hull E and a Starfarer aren't going to be able to completely fill out that cargo unless they spend a lot of money on UEC, or they just manage to find some extremely cheap cargo. But the Titan is just easy to manage. It's a small ship, so it can go to all the small jump points. It's deadly ship, so pirates are gonna be less likely to try and take over your cargo, and I think you're gonna make an awful lot of money, and you would get an extremely high amount of use out of owning an Avenger Titan. I personally own an Avenger Titan, even though I've got, say, a Saber and a Starfarer, just because I think it is the most ideal ship to just jump in and just fly out into space and just get up to some random stuff with no particular objective in mind, if you just want to do a bit of everything. So moving up a step above the Avenger Titan is one of my favorite ships, and that is the Freelancer series. So for $110 you can get the base Freelancer, and the Freelancer is, in my opinion, extremely similar to the Avenger Titan. It is just slightly upscaled. And I personally think this is the ultimate ship for Star Citizen because you've got a very healthy amount of cargo. It's not too big that you're probably going to struggle. I think you would be able to fill up that cargo very early in the game, maybe even from the very start of the game, depending how much UEC you start with your package. You'd be very easily able to fill up that cargo. And it is a very, very well-rounded ship. It is very customizable. So obviously, similar to the Avenger Titan, where you had a combat variant that you could upgrade to, a bounty hunting variant that you could upgrade to. The similar case is with the Freelancer. So obviously, for the Freelancer base, you've got a very versatile ship. You've got a very multi-purpose ship. You've got a ship that could do a bit of anything. You can do combat, you could do trading, you could do a slight bit of exploring. But obviously, if you have an area that you want to focus on, so let's say you want to be an explorer, you want one ship that's going to help you explore, you can upgrade to the Freelancer STAR-M5FP-NT3R. I think that's going to be the ultimate exploring ship, and I think that's personally going to be the best ship to have for exploring if you just want to do it on your own. Because although there may be bigger explorers like the Endeavour, they're going to struggle when it comes to jump points. Because obviously they are massive ships. They're not going to be able to go everywhere. Freelancer STAR-M5FP-NT3R is going to be able to explore anywhere and everywhere. And you don't need a huge crew to do it. You could do it just on your own. Or you could do it with just one friend or two friends. It is completely up to you whether you want to go out on your own, or if you want to let a few friends tag along. And that's something that the small explorers can't really do. For them, you are limited to your own exploring. And other than the Freelancer STAR-M5FP-NT3R, you have the Freelancer Max that you can upgrade to. So if you do want to focus on just the cargo transport side of the Freelancer, you could upgrade to the Max, which gets a much bigger cargo bay and is probably the best cargo hauler that you're going to get when you're looking at a one-man crew. I mean, obviously you could potentially fly, say, a Hull E on your own or a Starfarer on your own, but you're going to be risking an awful lot if you do so, because they are going to be very vulnerable on their own, whereas a Freelancer Max is not a vulnerable ship on its own by any means of any imagination. So you've got that to upgrade to. And if it ever comes back, or in the future, obviously when the game's out, all ships will be available, you could also upgrade to the Freelancer Miss variant, which is the militia variant. So if you want to just focus on the combat side of things, if you want to be a combat pilot and you want one ship to do that, the Freelancer Miss is going to be a very good, versatile combat ship. It's going to have a lot of firepower. It's going to have a metric shit ton of missiles to fire at your enemies. And at the moment, as it stands right now, missiles are extremely strong. And I think they always will be strong to some degree. I think they're always going to be stronger than weapons, because obviously they're a lot more limited than weapons, and they're a lot more expensive to restock than weapons. So I think they'll always have an edge above weapons, in my personal opinion. And the Freelancer Miss gets an awful lot of missiles. And it also gets a loading arm, so you could just keep on loading missiles to your heart's content. And lastly, moving up to the higher end of the scale for the ultimate one ship to have, we take a look at the Constellation Andromeda. Now, I personally do not like the Constellation series. That is my personal preference. I don't like its style, I don't like the way it flies, etc. But regardless of that, the Constellation is a huge fan favorite. Everybody loves the Constellation, except me, of course. I'm the odd duckling that doesn't love it. But the Constellation Andromeda is the ultimate one ship to have. And for this, I would say you should only jump up to the Andromeda if you have friends to go along with it. I don't think it's going to be a very enjoyable experience on your own. Now, obviously, you could fly it on your own. You would have no problem flying it on your own. You'd still be able to fight things. You'd still be extremely effective. But just given the nature of multi-crew ships, just given the nature of the size of it, how easy of a target it is to hit, and just the whole experience of multi-crew, it is pointless to go for a big multi-crew ship like the Andromeda and not have friends to go along with it, because the multi-crew experience in this game is what makes these multi-crew ships so enjoyable. It's what makes them fun. The Starfarer, for example, I own. I fly it out. I never fly it out on my own. I don't really have fun. It's just like flying any other ship. I just fly around and I just shoot things. I'm just slightly more sluggish and slightly more powerful. But if I have a bunch of friends, or even if I have a bunch of randoms running around in the back, all sorts of chaotic stuff goes on. I've had things from huge first-person shooter shootouts happening in the hallways of my ships. I've had people shoot me in the back of the head while I'm flying the ship. I've had a load of random and funny things happen with the multi-crew experience. And the Constellation Andromeda is the ultimate multi-crew ship if you're going to have just one ship. And obviously it's a big ship, so it's going to take you very far in the verse. It would last an extremely long time. Potentially you could just keep this ship forever and just never upgrade to anything else. Now obviously the Andromeda will set you back $225, so now you're looking into sort of the much higher end of pledges. Obviously there are pledges that go a lot higher. There are ones that go up to 1,000 and beyond 1,000, but obviously when we're looking at ships that we can buy every single day, ships that aren't limited, because for this list I wanted to exclude any limited ships. However, I will make an honorable mention and say I think my Starfarer is gonna be also an ultimate one-man ship. Well, not one-man ship, one ship to have. So if I only had one ship, I would be extremely happy with the Starfarer. Obviously I've got more than one ship, but if I had to pick one ship, I'd probably keep the Starfarer, just because I'm biased to the Starfarer and I'm in love with the Starfarer. But that is all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next video. Laters, taters.